Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And you know you've done screwed up when your fandom is hoping there's a secret redo of the ending of a show. So Stranger Things, the finale dropped a week ago. The reactions were mixed. Most of what I've read, people were not very impressed, especially longtime fans.
Yeah.
And now they're looking for any possibility of a redo of that ending. They're thinking that the ending might have been a fake out and that the real ending is still waiting to be dropped.
Like tomorrow or something.
Like tomorrow.
7 days later, 7 keeps repeating in the show. Now, do I think that's likely? Probably not. Do I think that'd be brilliant? Yes. I mean, like, part of me wishes that was true because that would be the most epic move ever done on TV. I mean, that would be insane. And I wish it was true. I don't think it's true. But if it is, that would be nuts. That could be unprecedented.
Yeah, I mean, it would. I see where they're coming from because we've talked at length about the finale and how it felt like everything was tied off too neatly and it was too quick. And frankly, it was too upbeat for this show, it felt like. And the theory is basically that, that was the fake ending, that they could still be in Vecna's mind, I guess, and that there's a real ending out there somewhere. I think it's wishful thinking. I think it's just the fans were disappointed. So now they're like, no, that's got to be the real ending. This happened with Star Wars too. People were like, well, they're going to do a whole Luke Skywalker series and undo The Last Jedi. And no. I mean, we got a Band-Aid on the Mandalorian. Yeah, we actually got to see proper Jedi Luke for like 30 seconds.
Well, they had him in there more than 30 seconds. But yeah, it's an interesting theory. And, if it was true, it would be so cool. I mean, that would be so awesome. But I don't think it's true because they released the finale theatrically. If they turn around and say, "Oh, psych, that's not the actual finale," people are going to be really, really, really pissed they went to the theater for that. They're going to be really mad.
I would, I mean, that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that if it wasn't released theatrically and the expectations were so high and they had the red carpet event and the podcast circuit and all of that, wrapping it up, I could see more validity to it. But we'll take a look at some of the rationale behind it. I think it's just fandom coming to grips with the fact that the show ended on a subpar level. Like we had 4 pretty good seasons, off and on. And then the 5th season had a couple of good moments, but for the most part was ass. So, whatever. It is what it is. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's our real ending. More.clownfishtv.com. Check it out.
It was a delayed laugh. It took me a minute. I was thinking of fan theories in my head, and it took me a minute to hear what you said.
So just to walk it back here, The Guardian even had an article on it, and they said that Stranger Things committed TV's ultimate crime. They said that the ending was mid. They said if it were truly terrible like Game of Thrones or Dexter, people would still be talking about it. If it were amazing like Breaking Bad or The Sopranos, people would still be talking about it. But they said by playing it safe down the middle, everybody's just going to kind of forget about it.
I don't think they're going to forget about it because the show is too important, but I think that they're not happy about it. Again, what they ended it in a way that worked with what they painted themselves into a corner with going into it. The whole second half of that season 5 was completely wasted, if you ask me. But that's a whole other story.
So this is actually what I thought might happen. They said that some fans are convinced we're not out of the upside down yet. The Conformity Gate fan theory has gained traction on TikTok and other social media platforms in the days since the finale was released, pointing out what some viewers believe to be Easter egg clues, supporting the speculation that the happy ending flash forward is actually an illusion from Vecna, who actually won the final battle along with the Mind Flayer. I thought they were going to go down that route.
Yeah, you said that because it was too quick. Everybody's like, this can't be the end. Like, no, this can't be the end.
Little things. It was too quick, and the light. I can't explain the lighting. I understand this whole season looked like a Netflix show, but the happy ending, it looked very kind of bright and cheery, like Henry's illusion did, right? So, and there were some things that just did not make sense. But this whole season, frankly, didn't make sense. They say, according to different posts, the theory is based on small moments that stuck out to some viewers as odd. But stick with us here. Almost all these clues are quite convoluted, based on manipulated images, or to be frank, a major stretch.
Yeah.
So one screenshot shows the high school graduation scene where everyone is in the audience sitting with their hands clasped, with fans believing that's how Henry always stood, including
Yeah,
when he
that one I
possessed
thought was
Billy.
a real stretch. That one with the audience, with the graduation. They're not all clasping hands though.
No,
See,
they're
the
not.
girls, they're not. But it was interesting. There was a yellow sign with nothing on it. I don't know if maybe they were supposed to in post put something on the sign and didn't.
Well, no, I think that's exactly what happened. That one I think is very easily explained because they also caught on Holly's sleeve. She was wearing Under Armour in the 1980s, and they had to go in and actually take that out. It's kind of right up there with the Game of Thrones where they had a Starbucks cup sitting on the table. I think they were going to put something on the sign, and it might have been that since they did that shot, they didn't want to spoil the ending or parts of the ending, so maybe they just left the sign blank and they figured they could fix it in post.
But no one would catch it,
And nobody would catch it
because it's a quick flash or whatever. Yeah.
So this is a thread that has it's Adnan loves cats, and I'm sorry, Adnan. I would love to believe that this was a fake out, and that would be like
That'd be
the most
so epic if it
epic
was.
thing ever. And they actually lost. I'm thinking like Evangelion with multiple endings. We had the good ending, the good endings, goodish ending, the bad ending, which was end of Evangelion, and then we finally got the good ending in the movies. But it took him however many thousands of tries to get it. X a lie. So they had Max, Lucas, Will, Dustin, Mike, and it spells it out on the binders.
That's interesting, but that could be coincidental.
That could be coincidental, right? Because it also says Muwum, who's the actual villain of the show is Muwum.
That's right.
Susie and Vicky disappear in the epilogue, but what if it's because Vecna doesn't know who they are?
No, it's because she alludes to the clingy partners, and that was this, I think, for Vicky and Susie. They just walked over her like she wasn't there. I think it was because the implication is they were shut off from the world, so he couldn't talk to her anyway.
Long distance relationships at that age probably don't last very long. It was be real. Plus, Susie was kind of annoying. Let's be honest. She was grating. All the Wheelers end up looking exactly like Ted Wheeler, something they never wanted to become. What?
Well, yeah, Nancy kind of looks like her mom, and he kind of looks like his dad. But that's just he's just wearing glasses. Otherwise, it's not that big of a.
It's business Nancy.
And
She's
her hair is
woman,
cut similar, but it's not cut. But it is kind of swooped to the side and everything like her mom. That's interesting. I did notice that, but I was just like, whatever.
It would kind of explain the plot holes in some regard because where were the Demogorgons? How come Nancy or how come Karen Wheeler could get up and to be an action hero after she had her throat ripped out?
Right.
It's like there were a lot of things that didn't make sense. So I get it. They said this is an 80s series. They said, choppy hair is normal. Said another screenshot seems to point out how everyone's Dungeons and Dragons. Spell X is a lie. Again, I think Motum is the real bad.
The real message.
The real message.
It's like Tadam, but with the Mind Flayer, so it's a Motum.
Motum. Tadam. Oh yeah, Motum. That's like the upside down version of Netflix. Mm-hmm. Motum. I think people are just having a really hard time coping that one, the show's over, and two, that the ending was lackluster. I mean, it's just they talked about Susie and Vicky. Matt and Ross Duffer previously told Entertainment Weekly that they did talk about where Vicky ended up, but it's ultimately up to the audience to decide whether she and Robin are together.
Other things people mentioned, they had to do with the fact that there's something to do with like her tattoo not being there or something, and then her nose was bleeding on the wrong side, which to me seems like they just flipped the film by accident and cutting. But they don't really do that now, do they? It's all digital, but somehow
I think there were a lot of things. I mean, the fact that they left the Under Armour logo on the shirt, and some other stuff that should have been cut.
It just seems like they were trying to rush it because the production didn't end until the end of last year, so it was like they were ending it late. And it was probably, that's why they probably did it in sections too, because they were probably still working on the later sections as they ended the earlier section. So they were like up against it because they got pushed back because of the strikes and stuff.
I really thought that there was going to be time travel. I really thought that there would be a fake out ending or something, because it did seem like it wrapped up too neatly. It'd be wild if they actually had like a whole nother season. Like, yeah, we actually here's what we thought was going to happen. Here's the redo. That would be a bigger mic drop than Dallas just like retconning an entire season.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, I hope it's true. I don't think it is, but that would just be so amazing. I can't even wrap my head around how brilliant that would be. But I think we're giving them too much credit.
Yeah. So why the fans believe this? They think Wednesday, which would be tomorrow, they think there's an additional episode. They shared a teaser video for many different upcoming projects on Christmas morning on social media, along with the caption, "Your future is on its way, hashtag what next on January 7th. But the video does not explicitly tease Stranger Things, as it does with Bridgerton, Avatar, Sesame Street, or other upcoming projects. No, I think it's like, here's what you're going to watch after Stranger Things, because it's over.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, people are saying, too, that it was called The Right Side Up, but originally it was supposed to be called, they said the episode was supposed to be called Stranger Things, which I never saw that anywhere, but that's what they said. So they changed the name, and they're like, so is the last episode Stranger Things? I don't know. It's just, there are some valid points they bring up that are definitely like, yeah, that's interesting. But a lot of it could be explained as they screwed up in post.
Well, there's this too. January 7th is the start of Orthodox Christmas, and all other Stranger Things episodes dropped on holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve. I don't know.
Plus, it was 7 days after last episode. There's
right.
7 is a recurring theme throughout the whole 7 seconds in the lightning, 7 here, 7 there. Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant if they were doing that, but I'm like, I think you're giving them entirely too much credit.
The audiences have had so many better fan theories than we got. At this point, I think the audience is more creative than the show is at this point.
Yeah.
It didn't start that way, but I think as it got more and more about money and less about creativity, that's what we got. But it would be like that would be the ultimate Stranger Things thing to do, would be that. And I wish so much it was true, but I don't think it is. But please be true, because that'd be awesome. But I really don't think it's true.
Well, they could always do a Stranger Things 1995 where the gang has been intubated in the abyss for 10 or 15 years, and then 11 has to come back and save them or something. So I don't know. There's just a lot. It didn't make sense, but yeah, I think it's just wishful thinking. I do applaud them for making these connections, but people are like, man, this is turned into FNAF.
Yeah. What other things do they have? They have other things that they're thinking it's based on.
Not really. I said Duffer Brothers could make Stranger Things the greatest series. The Conformity Gate is real. This could be the ultimate cinematic illusion, a dream sequence.
It would be brilliant.
You know, what if Mike is inventing his own ending, or Vecna is creating an illusion?
Well, that's something else they mentioned. Like, Mike was the leader up until he got knocked out by Vecna, and when Will gets his powers. They said, what if, that was the last time anything was actually, real?
Well, that's kind of what, again, I'm looking at Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it had multiple endings, but basically how they explained it. Spoiler, I mean, it's been around for freaking 30 years, but whatever. Some people take a while to get around to watching things. So they had the TV ending, which was really rushed, the congratulations ending, and then they had the end of Evangelion, which redid the ending, but actually started a couple episodes. So they redid the last couple series episodes leading into the movie ending, which wasn't a very happy ending. And then years later, they did the reboot, the movie reboot, which was supposed to be a big budget reimagining of the series, and it was for the first movie and a half, and then after that went in a totally different direction, and we got the real ending. And here it turns out that they were in a time loop, and they just kept repeating the same thing over and over and over and over again until Shinji finally grows a pair and gets it right, and then it stops. The cycle stops.
So it was Groundhog Day.
It was Groundhog Day, yeah, with giant robots. But I could see something like that. Again, we're dealing with time travel. Like, what if they keep going a time loop back to the 50s and then to the 80s and then back to the 50s, and then it's eventually
something else they mentioned. Like, Will made, when he was coming out, he said about milkshakes at the one place, and they said, but in Stranger Things, the series we know, it's not a place that serves milkshakes, but in the 50s in the play, they mentioned that it did. And that's another thing they said that they thought, but that's easily they get us crossed, in their mind, because when you write a bunch of different things, it crosses over. I can speak from experience. But it also could be like they said that, it's because Vecna's projecting it. He's projecting the milkshakes because that's what he remembers. He doesn't know what it is now because he's not around now. I mean, other than being in the Upside Down and X, he doesn't know. So they said that was also interesting because that's not one of the places. That's something else now. It's not, the place is there, but it doesn't serve milkshakes. It's a completely different thing. I forget what it was off the top of my head because I'm not that invested.
Yeah, but they never explained either why the Upside Down was always locked to 1983. Because there are all these like time travel theories that I thought there would be some kind of a time travel, something going on. I didn't expect it to be that straightforward. I mean, it would be amazing if they did that. And
I think 83 was because she sent Henry to X, and that opened, I guess it opened a crack in X, but it closed it on our side so they couldn't get through. So when she touched the Demogorgon, which that's what she was seeing was X, and when she touched it or whatever, it opened it that it could come into our world, and she opened that rift and it kind of froze it, made the Upside Down in time at 83 when she did that. That's apparently what that was about, from my understanding.
So it's like a Xerox copy of whatever.
Yeah, and that's why it's always locked to 83.
All right. Well, I guess, that's as good a theory as any because like they don't even seem to understand their own continuity. Like, why is there no water in the Upside Down? Then there is. Why are the spores dangerous? And then they're not. That's the other thing too. Like the spore. Yeah, I don't know. So I get it. I can see. I mean,
Stranger Things 95 was when everybody gets some weird growth, and it tries to repopulate with the mind flayer spores in our world because that when they killed the Demogorgon, they went up the tower, and since everybody breathed those spores in, because they even said over and over, we don't know if they're dangerous or not. We don't know what they are. So nothing's saying they can't do it again like 95 or whatever, and like oh shit the spores activated.
What's the movie with Julia Roberts where the water was poisoned?
Oh, the one that was based on she was a lawyer?
Was it Aaron Brockovich?
Yeah, that was true. Supposed to be true, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, so they could do it like that. They could be like, oh yeah, Hawkins, boy, it's really unfortunate. The mall burnt down and they had that big earthquake, and now everybody in town has cancer, but they're actually turning into Demogorgons.
But they have some kind of weird something, and they're going to say it's because of all the Russian experiments there or something.
Right, the radiation from the science lab or something.
I don't know. I'm saying they leave that door open there, but. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot. They bring up some really compelling things.
Yeah, so this makes no sense. Okay, is this real? Is Vecna messing with us again? This makes no sense. Lucas says this directly to Mike, who represents us, and we're being clued in as to why Volume 2 makes no sense. Is what Robin says next that 100% confirms it. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird too. It was almost like a wink and a nod, like, yeah, none of this makes any damn sense. Robin, they share one thing in common. They're all unconscious. What happens when Vecna captures you? Mike, you go into a trance. Robin is saying this to Mike and then says, no wonder everyone was so clueless. It's a trance. The fourth wall break is calling. She was in a trance. Mike is constantly shown as confused in the scene, like he's trying to figure it out, but he can't see through the facade yet. So it could be Mike is actually in the Upside Down. I mean, that makes more sense than the ending we got. I get it. Your brain, like, look, the human brain tries to make sense of things that don't make sense. This is why conspiracy theories are so popular, because we're always trying to bring order to chaos. This is why we see faces in things when the faces are not there, because we're trying to find something that we can make sense of. And when you've got such a nonsensical ending, you're going to try to make it make sense in your brain, especially when people spent so many years trying to, come up with all these theories about what's going to happen.
Like I said, they have some really, I mean, they're not this one so much, but other ones that they've been really valid things that they've noticed. And it's like, well, that's actually really compelling. But again, I would love to, I wish it was true. I want it to be true, but I honestly don't think it's true. And if it was, that would be the best thing ever. That would be the most well-played gotcha ever. And that would just be so epic. And I want it to be true just for the epicness of it, but I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I think it would be great though. Now you there's a showrunner out there or a future showrunner like, okay, note to self, we'll do the fake ending. We'll do the fake ending when it's time. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
wait till tomorrow and see.
I don't think anything's gonna happen. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't either, but I hope it does. I mean, again, two things be true at once. I hope it's true, but I don't think it's true.
Yeah, they don't
but it
get
would be
as Melvins.
amazing if it was true. But it's very unlikely because they're gonna. The fact they released it to the theaters, and people are gonna be so pissed if it was true.
Yeah. Yeah, Melvad's was only a milkshake place during Henry's time,
Yeah,
not
that's it.
Will's. And Will's saying that like they're getting lost in the woods. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a little weird, but I just chop it up to sloppy writing and a rushed ending.
Oh my
and-
god, if it turns out to be true, I'm gonna like freak. But I don't think it's going to be.
All right, so
Now I
let's
have
wrap.
hope. Now I have hope. Damn it! Don't give me hope, even though mentally I know it's not true. But that part of me is like,
What if it
awesome.
is?
That would be so awesome.
What if
Anyway,
it is? All right, we're going to wrap it up.
yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.